Okay, so again, I'm going to do another video talking about what they're doing, what they're telling me. Um, People are leaving comments, and I thank you folks for leaving comments. What I'm doing now is I didn't tuck this like behind my ear directly so it would get the bump. So I'm just pulling it down so it can get the bump. The hair isn't coming out like it was in the previous video. In the previous video, you see how, I don't know if you guys see this here. Oh, there it is. In the previous video, every time I did this, hair came out, and it's not doing that now. So I'm trying to get that little bump, but it's not coming out. Anyway, so one of the things is they said, we thought you would keep editing your videos. And that's what I'm trying to say about them. It seems like they said they created this sort of, I don't know whether they're trying to say it's a computer program that predicts what I'll do, or whether it's something that they said they were doing on their own. And they said they would try to write down what I would do, because they said they thought my face, they could, okay, this is where it gets to my point about them. They thought they could read my thoughts by looking at my facial expression. And that's my point. This is my interpretation of that. And it goes based on what I just told you, that they thought. They thought that they had the ability to read my mind. And they said that they would look at me and they would think, well, what am I thinking? Again, that's what the problem is with this. It seems like these are people who belong to a unique group where they spend more time trying to manipulate than they do doing their own jobs, their own ideas. So the point was to recruit me, get me into that group. And when it didn't work, force it. Try to force a relationship. So when they're upset about my hair, they said, well, this is proof that we are exposing you to radiation. I do believe I'm being exposed to radiation, but my hair texture is the same hair texture I always had. So I don't believe they're taking credit for my hair is the point. I believe them taking credit for my hair is the point, meaning everything I do seems to be in their minds connected to what they're doing. So I know that didn't make sense, but so not editing my videos allows you to see how I think so that they don't have that advantage. Now, anyone who watches my video will be able to create the same type of software they create. Why am I doing it that way? Because they thought by invading my privacy, they would have they called it proprietary advantage. So they would have the advantage. If everyone in the world can now have that same thing, it's not special anymore. And that's my point. They wanted to be special. That's part of their whole idea. We have the ability to read minds. We have the ability to force you. They said this isn't voluntary. This is involuntary. We have the ability to force you to do what we want you to do. We have proprietary access to you. Well, no, you folks have more access to my mind and what I think than they do. And that's my point. That is part of why I don't want to stop doing videos, and I'm not going to, because they cannot have an advantage. They're doing the wrong thing cannot benefit them. It must not benefit them. I'm willing to embarrass myself by my hair not sitting right and talking right off the top of my head and not scripting anything. I'm willing to do that because that not only stops them from being able to have the advantage, but it also hopefully helps people who are dealing with them so that you understand how they think. I don't know whether we all everyone being targeted experience the same type of targeting. I think there are similarities, but I think this was a unique way of targeting me. So they said, why would you talk about these things that happened 30-something years ago? um, why wouldn't you be embarrassed? There's no big deal about that. That's my point. I think, oh, every video I do this to myself. Like if I wrote it down, then I probably wouldn't have the moment in the video when I'm like, oh yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Everything that they say is them making it seem worse than it actually was. So they say, aren't you upset that in yesterday's video you said 32 years ago you and some girl might have I don't know how they phrased it, but it wasn't a big deal, and then we became friends and blah blah blah. That's how people are. I mean, that's my point. I think they didn't understand that that's human. Like I don't understand. They said their culture is that they hold grudges forever. That's the problem. That's a big problem. If you hold grudges forever, you have a problem. I don't. I feel like I argue with somebody, next minute we're laughing together. That's how I am. And so all the examples that I cited kind of went the same exact way. Anytime I have these types of things, one minute we're like, next minute we're like, what's, did you see, we don't hold grudges. And I think that's part of why they said they couldn't get anybody to talk this way about me. They said it. So if you're involved with them, they're giving you one story and telling me another. They said they couldn't get people to come forward because that's my nature. My nature is like, I can argue with you. Next minute, we're laughing about something. We're having a good time. And that's my point. I think the personality assessment they had of me failed. And I think it's because they projected their feelings about things onto me, that I was going to be like, oh my goodness, my hair isn't perfect. Look at my face. I mean, I think this is more of a distraction than my hair. What? You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's part of it. Like when I'm talking to you folks about stuff, those of us who get it say, what? Who the fuck cares about your hair? Look at your face. What's going on with you? So the fact that my health is showing that it's not in good health is more of a point. But to them, they're so focused on, what about the hair? They said I was going to put a side bun like this. I don't know. Is the side bun in again? I don't know. You guys tell me. Are people doing the side bun? I don't know. I guess I have more important things to worry about than that. So, what was the other thing? So going back, I'm going to review it and then we're going to do a bonus. So going back to what they said. They wanted this to seem like they were so powerful. But if you're so powerful, you wouldn't need me. So they admitted that sometimes I have, the ability to do. They think I predict things. I said this before to someone. I don't predict things. I look at something and I can notice a trend. That's a good thing to be able to do. But it's not a prediction. I think that's where I get the ability to do some of the things I do. Being able to notice a trend, there are a lot of us who can do this. This isn't like, magic. Being able to notice a trend helps me see who these people are. So they said, why did I years ago make sure to get any of these types of people out of my life? Because when you're young, you can have a lot of like people in your life and you can balance it. As you get older and you have a life, you have health issues, or you have, just things happening. You don't have the ability to balance a lot of people and a lot of different things. And I told you in a previous video that they think that a 49-year-old would be able to do what someone 20, 30 would do. I can't. So they said, don't you worry? No, I don't worry that people think that that's strange. I can't do what I used to do. Physically, I can't. I'm not going to, that's it. Oh, There's another one of those moments. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie and say I can do what I used to be able to do. I'm not going to say, oh, I have the same abilities today that I had years ago. I don't, you know. So going back to what I'm saying is that these types of folks are more concerned with, well, don't you care what people think about you? No. Don't you want to create a fake personality? No. People who know me know this is me. Like I once spoke to somebody and they said it's like old times. Yeah. I felt the same way about that person. But that's my point. That's how regular people are. Like you can meet somebody years later. If they're a normal person and you had a connection with them, usually that connection is still there. And it's like, this is like old times. This is who you are. So they said I changed. I don't change. I don't change. I stay who I am. So just as a bonus, I want to go over, I want to say something about how this type of personality assessment fails. It fails when people put themselves in it. So if this was supposed to be, and that's my point, like every time they do something, it's not good. Like it's bad because it seems to be, I don't know, like it seems that they put themselves into it too much. So it's more them, less me, more their insecurities, their hangups, their weaknesses, less mine. And being unable to live life on as it should be lived is part of their problem. And that's my point. Like if you're going to start harassing people, targeting people, and coming up with lies and stories, and you can't get people to come forward with these things to the actual target, that's a problem. If you're running around behind me and telling lies and I can keep catching you and I still have more evidence, they're worried that I may have recorded things. Why would you worry if you said you know everything about me, you were watching me all this time? And I have to tell the people, you know, who are watching my videos, who are trying to do this, that if you're worried, that's good. That's good. I'm glad you're worried. You wanted me to worry. So they said they tried to find people who would talk about me and give them stories, and they couldn't find all these people, and they thought this was a way to reconnect with these people. No. That's my point. There's something wrong with that situation. If you are trying to find problems and you are trying to, they said they were going to pay them. I think some people did get $1,000. So if they were paying for these types of things, that's another issue. Again, that, you know, they said, well, my case wouldn't be good. I think my case will be great if these people paid people to try to hurt me. That's a crime, folks. And I think my case will be good. And that's my whole point. They thought I was